Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I am Freeciv Frank, and today I'm going to be playing my favorite game, Freeciv. It's a Civ 2 clone with some changes and features. I like this game because it is a very bare bones civilization game. It's focused on cities, making units, developing infrastructure, and then victory through either conquest or winning the space race. So if you want to try the game for yourself, you just go on this website, freeciv.org, download Freeciv. There's installers for Windows, or your package manager probably has the game as well. I'm going to be starting off a video series here, and this will be the first of my series where I'm just going to play the first 50 turns and kind of explore the game mechanics and how you can set yourself up for a successful Freeciv game. So let's move on to the game here. Now there's different clients, they don't really matter, it's really just a matter of taste as to how you want your game to look like. And I've been playing this game for years, so I've modded my game such that the graphics are going to look a little bit different. And I made a few changes to my rule set, tying the size of my borders to my population size, but other than that, I haven't changed too much from the base game. So when you click start a new game, you'll be directed to this window here. And just so that we're sure, I'm going to be explaining how the game works based on the Civ 2, Civ 3 rule set, which is the base rule set for the game. Other game options that I like to play with, I like the hexagonal topology. Looks good, and also it's better in terms of, I guess, tactical combat. However, tactics here, which I'll explain, don't matter too much, but I do like hex grids. I like random colors, and I made it so that every person starts off with just one settler unit versus the 2 settlers, 2 workers, 1 explorer. I feel like that's too much and is not necessary for enjoying the game. And then finally, I kind of changed how trade routes and caravans work, which I'll explain later on, to have the classic calculation for trade revenue, which makes caravans more rewarding than the base free Civ 2, Civ 3 rule set. Okay, and then once we get to the actual game and choosing nations, these are all basically aesthetic. It doesn't really matter which one you choose here, but I'm going to choose a Civ for myself. Let's say Carthaginian. Okay, yeah, I like that. I like the flag, so let's play this. And I'll leave the others as random, and we'll start the game. Okay, so before even starting the game, it's very important to kind of look around and see what you have in your immediate vicinity, because there's a lot of things going on even before you start the game that will help for you to decide how you're going to play this game. And I'll go over the details here. First off, in this rule set, every civilization starts with 1 free random technology. So I'm going to check what it is that I have. And it looks like I started off with the warrior code technology, which is very good because it plays on to the strategy that I think I'm going to play here. The warrior code enables the archer, which is a unit that has a high attack and basic upkeep, but it's good for early conquest. Going back to our map here, we can see that I have a lot of grassland territory here, which is good for at least getting my initial population. In terms of resources, we have whales, which is really good. That 2 food, 1 production, 2 trade. It's going to enable me to develop technology. So that's probably the tile that I'll be working first. Then we also have a fish resource, which would be more useful later on. And then finally, we have actually iron in this mountains, which is very useful in terms of production. So the reason where you start off matters is because it's going to affect whether or not you're going to go for a classic rapid expand, or you are going to go for a more militaristic approach. And right off the bat, you actually have two governments that you can choose that will enable you to play one or the other. We'll just go to the Civilopedia here, and I'll kind of explain very short, kind of summarize it. The difference between the two. So despotism is the initial government that everyone starts off with. The special thing about despotism is you get a 75% bonus to gold production. Now, if we had a really good commerce tile, like a wine or a silk, this would probably be the best government to start off with. It also is better if you start off with a capital that is near river. That's, I find, the best place for despotism government to start off with, because you get that accumulation of gold as you increase your population size. And despotism is really good for if you start off with good land. Now, the land that we do have is okay, but it doesn't start on a river tile, so we actually at some point are going to be restricted in our city size. But we do start off with a good production tile and enough food to actually start working that production tile. But our commerce is limited, because if we want to actually increase our trade, we need to build workers and build roads, and basically making our cities good in trade is going to require a lot of investment. So what I think is good to go for here is to start off with a tribal government. I'm going to use the fact that my initial tech enables me to build archers right off the bat. I'm going to build a few archers and see who is nearby. And the goal is not to actually conquer them entirely, but like I said, land is a limited resource, so the more that you have by conquering someone else, the more land you have in total. It's high risk, high reward strategy, and the other benefit is tribal governments actually enable you to get veterancy bonuses faster. That's the big thing for it. That yeah, increases by half the chance of land units getting next veterancy level. And also, the different government changes how your unit support works. So on despotism, after your 2 initial units, you need every additional unit after that per city costs gold, which we don't have gold, so this would be a bad idea. But for tribalism, you get 2 free units, and then each one requires additional production. So based on that, I'm going to switch, come tribal. Okay, and I'm going to set my city right here. Now, because I am in anarchy, basically all I need to care about right now is just growing the city. I'm going to build an initial warrior for scouting, and then after that build an archer, and then build a settler. Okay, so I'll just progress the turn here. Okay, so as you can see, we're now in a tribal government, and I got my warrior. So I'm gonna just use them to explore, and just so you're aware, there's no risk, at least for barbarians, until turn 150 or so. So yeah, we'll just keep going, and I'm going to switch to building an archer here. I'll explore for about 5 turns, and we'll talk about what we've discovered in terms of land. Okay, so as we can see here, we moved our warrior kind of east, and we have a potential for a really good tile here. Has gold, which is a really good commerce tile. As you can see, 6 trade right off the bat. We also have here a coal tile, it's good for production. We have an oil tile, which is okay for now, but it's better near the end of the game when you can build oil wells. So already I can see we can start plopping another city here, but as you can see, we have a bunch of desert in these tiles, so expanding here is probably not the best thing to do. I'm gonna go back and look at my city here, and one useful feature that Freeciv has is the ability to buy stuff right off the bat. If you look at the top of the screen here, I have 55 gold in my bank, and I'm generating 2 gold per turn. So as a general rule, there's no reason why you shouldn't be using your gold as much as possible to rush units, rush buildings, because otherwise it's just going to be staying there. So I'm going to buy this archer right away so I can start exploring westwards. And then after that, I'm going to build a settler so I can put my next settlement here. And I'll explore for 5 more turns and explain the lay of the land there. Okay, so as we suspected here, the land to the east, not really productive with all these desert tiles. I mean, there's a good fish tile, so this might be a good place to have, you know, like a trade city. But generally, we don't want to expand any more than here for now, just to use that gold. And yeah, that would be good for now for this spot. But as we expand west, we can clearly see much better land in terms of we have a wheat here. Wheat is provides 3 food, which is actually quite good. So one thing to note is when you plop down a city, it actually begins with the road infrastructure. So anytime you plop a city down, you will get at least 1 trade, unless it is in a hill tile or a swamp tile, which actually provides no commerce. These aren't good tiles, but in the late game, when you can build supermarkets, they can be really good food tiles. So already I'm thinking build a city here, and possibly a city here, though I would probably place it here. It's a more defensible position. And actually, on second thought, build a city here, enable us to get these 2 resources for a really high population city. And if I build a city here, I can use the fish to basically support a population to accumulate gold here. And something to note is that these 2 gold tiles are going to enable me to accumulate a lot of trade. So play 5 more turns, see if I can build. Oh yeah, I can buy this settler right off the bat, and I'm going to do so. And as you can see, we actually have what looks like to be an outline of a border here. So that tells me two things. First thing it tells me is this land here that I want is going to be something I'm going to have to compete with them for. So this settler that I said I was going to build here, I'm actually going to start with building this city right off the bat, because I really, not only do I want this gold tile, but I want to deny that gold tile from the other civilization here. Now, with a lot of Civ games, there's this idea that you build cities, you expand, and you defend your cities with your units. How Freeciv is different is there's a concept in the game called zone of control. So what that means is this unit here actually prevents any enemy unit from moving adjacent to it. So let's say there was an enemy unit here. If my archer is in this tile, they can't go here and they can't go here. So by fortifying a unit here, I can deny, at least by land, access to all of this land that is behind him, right? So something good to note. And again, I did say I was going to go for the tribalism. So I think what I want to do is see if I can score a quick conquest of a city from this player. But you don't want to be in warfare for long, because at some point, while you're busy getting bogged down in warfare, someone else is peacefully expanding. So I'll play another couple of turns, and we'll see how we're going to do diplomacy with this guy here. Alright, so like I said, I'm going to move this settler here. And the thing with settlers is they actually cost 2 population. So you need a size 3 city in order to, in order to build a settler. I'm going to build another archer here because I want to start building up my military. So the plan for this city here, 1 more archer, and then I want to build another city, so I have 3 cities. And then I'm going to focus on making this a unit production powerhouse because it has that iron that I haven't been using yet. So let's keep playing the game here. Every once in a while you get reports on advanced civilizations. Looks like we are number 4, so not bad. And looks like we finished researching ceremonial burial, which enables us to build a temple for happiness, and the mausoleum. It's a wonder. As a general rule for improvements, you really shouldn't be looking too much on improvements except for strategically built cities, building walls with the masonry tech. Improvements are more of a mid-game thing. Once you do your initial expansion phase, you focus on making your city stronger and more powerful. Okay, now here's the thing. Like I said, we're going to play militaristic, but at some point we will need to transition into more of a peacetime economy. The problem with these 2 initial governments is that they cause a penalty to the tiles that you are getting your food and your trade and other stuff from. And I'll kind of show this by going to the city center. So let's look at this fish tile here. So this fish tile is supposed to produce 3 food, 0 production, and 2 trade. Yet, when I work this tile, I actually only end up with 2 food and 2 trade. And this is because under these initial base governments, uh, anytime you have a resource output that's greater than 2, it actually subtracts the output you get by 1. It's called the despotism penalty. It was present in Civ 1, Civ 2, and in Civ 3. I'm just going to get that back here. So yeah, now getting back to the technology here, because of this despotism penalty, I want to actually transition to one of the classical age governments, either a monarchy or a republic. And I won't get into the details of what they do, but they will remove that despotism penalty and enable us to fully get the output from our tiles. So there's 3 ways we can do that. We can either go for one of these governments, or we can build, what is it called, the pyramid wonder, which gets rid of the despotism penalty. But this is a very niche strategy that you shouldn't really go for unless you know what you're doing. So I'm gonna go with Alphabet, and the reason for that is the Alphabet enables the diplomat, which allows us to establish embassies, conduct some espionage actions and stuff like that, and it's also a means for us to get to monarchy, which is the government I'm going to go for. Okay, so I moved on to the Mali's tile, and I got introduced to them. Now, the weird thing about the AI in this game is it will always start with a ceasefire. The other thing too to keep in mind with the AI is it's very rudimentary. So pretty much in the first 20 turns, the AI will decide whether or not it wants to be your ally for the end of the game or your enemy for the end of the game. Now, we've decided that I'm going to take some of his land to enable my own expansion. So he's likely going to be an enemy. Now, if it is possible, what I would like to do is research Alphabet before I engage in war with him, see if I can trade technologies. But I'll talk about diplomacy in a later game. I'm going to explore again for the next 5 turns until something special happens. And as we can see, Mali actually has 2 cities. Now, what I can do right off the bat, because it looks like this is unguarded, but that's probably going to change next turn, is break the ceasefire and attack, and then that would make them weaker. And actually, I am going to do that, take advantage of that situation, because it'll reduce the amount of power he has. So, yeah, the tech trade thing could be nice, but honestly, reducing this civilization's power will enable me to get way more land versus cooperating right off the bat. So, but the consequence of that is I'm going to have to be ready to engage in warfare very, very soon. So I'm going to actually start moving this warrior to the front. Mali, I'm going to cancel that treaty and conquer that city. Now that city's gone. It's basically full of roads and ruins, and they are probably extremely angry that I did that. Yeah, we're at war. They offered a ceasefire. Okay, yeah, I will accept that treaty because I don't want to go to war right away. But as you can see, I can start surrounding this city, which is a really good city, by the way, because you have another gold tile, which again, gold is really good for commerce. You have a spice tile, good commerce and food tile. So if you irrigate this, it's actually really good. Keeps your population growing, and a whales. So I can only benefit by going to war and capturing the city. But I think what I'm going to do is focus on capturing this city and then move on to doing something else. See if I can buy this. Not yet. Okay, keep going. And I'm going to build my new city here. Now I want to build a warrior right away because it's only 4 turns versus the 7 turns of the archer, but I'm going to focus on working that whale tile, which I realized I had in the radius. And it looks like this is at the bottom, so that's just an ice tile. No big problems. So I'm going to set myself up towards surrounding this because I want this guy to be gone, essentially. And do that. Yeah, I will buy this guy. I'm gonna fortify here. So, like I said with the zone of control, now they are unable to move here or here. So they would have to go all the way around in order to get a settler out or whatever it is they want to do. I'm going to play another couple of turns. But the peace that we have is not going to last, just so you're aware, simply because of the fact that I literally destroyed their city there. I'm going to have this town build another settler. And the thing is, you can actually change what you're working. I don't need food right now, I need this settler built. So I'm going to focus on working this iron tile just to get that settler out. Okay, build another archer tile here. Now with warfare here, yes, the unit stats matter, but what matters more is actually having more units. Okay, now what I want to do is actually establish a zone of control here. If I do that, then they are blocked off from this side, and then as these units move in, I can completely encircle this the enemy here. Okay, I got alphabet, so again we're beelining for monarchy, so my next technology is code of laws. It looks like they have a settler tile here, which again, because of the way I've established the zone of control, there's really, the only way he can go is around and away. And I don't really care if he goes somewhere else, but the value of this city based on these resources, I just cannot ignore. Okay, so now I have my second settler on the way, and I'm going to be building more archers. Now you gotta focus on making sure that the units that you can support are reasonable. So right now I have more units that can be supported. So because I'm in the tribalism government, every unit after that costs an extra production. So I'm actually losing 1 production by doing this. But this is something I can easily fix by you know, setting another unit to go for another home city. So this unit here, which if we go to, is being supported by this capital. But that unit is somewhere right here. So if I set the home city of this here, or actually no, I built that there. But that's kind of the idea. So if I actually move this archer back and set Carthago as its home city, then I can reduce the strain that's being experienced by this city by supporting more units than it can support. Okay. Alright, we're on a good roll. So this one's going to go here. This one, I'm going to set the home city of that here. And as you can see, the penalty from production is gone, so we can actually build another archer much faster. Now, what I actually want to know, probably a good idea, is how many units are defending this city, because it's a big risk if I'm unable to take this city. Okay, we're going to plop our third city here at Hadrimentum. And yeah, we're just going to start with an archer. Get this archer back. And what I will do is actually move all the units at once, but I want to move them on different tiles, because how this game works is unless your unit is in a city or in a fortress, if you stack up all your units and an enemy wins a battle with one unit, they destroy all the units in that tile. So spreading out your units here is actually really important. So I'll place this warrior on this gold. I'll place this warrior on this hill. This warrior on this spice. And I'll place, well, what do I have here? I have two archers, so I'll place one on the hill and one on the plains. That should be enough to take this down. So if that's the case, I'm actually going to focus on building another settler here, because I think I'm going to risk it, and if it works, it works. If it does not, then I'll have to regroup and rethink my strategy. So what you want to do, you want to soften, or at least how I like to do it, is soften the enemy military with your weak units, like your warriors, and then let the archers finish off the job. So if I make sure we're at war, we are at war. So as you see, I lost that unit. I lost that unit. But hopefully, because I've worn down the defenders in the city, I should be able to conquer. And there we go. I've conquered their capital city, I think. And that means I have this amazing city, which has 2 whales, 1 gold, 1 spice. So actually what I can do right away is, first off, I'm going to set one of these archers a new home city here to reduce the production penalty. And I want to start developing this to be a forward operating base. So I'm going to build a barracks, and the special thing about a barracks is any unit stationed inside a city with a barracks fully heals in 1 turn. So I'm going to put all my archers in here. And then I actually want to create a denial zone here. So if I, let's say, build or fortify an archer onto this forest, I'll be able to prevent basically Mali from coming in and attacking me through here. I'm going to take advantage of the gold tile here, and as you can see, once we started working that gold tile, shaved off 1 turn for our research. Okay, and with just 10 turns left to go, basically the next thing I want to do is settle this city to take advantage of the gold tile, or actually I'm going to settle it there. Fortify this northern section that's unoccupied, and that's a good 50 turns. So I'll do that. And now that the initial conquest is over, I actually need to start thinking about fortifying my cities, so I don't get a random, if a random person start developing ships and attacking my cities, I don't want them to go. Okay, so my conquest phase is over. So now what I want to do is actually build up my cities, and I will talk about city improvement and irrigation in a different episode. I want to see if I can buy this, and yes I can. And do I have 3? Yeah, I got 3 population. I'm going to build that so I can quickly secure that tile. Okay, I've researched Code of Laws, which enables me to build a courthouse, which halves corruption, and also can make one unhappy citizen content. I will talk about improvements at a later episode. Corruption is an important feature of the game, and every different government affects corruption in a different way, but that's for another time. Okay, now that I've built that, I want to focus on improving the city. So I'm going to build a worker here and focus on building basically irrigation and mines. And we just got 5 turns to go. Largest civilizations on number 2. Byzantines are number 1. It's pretty interesting. Okay, I'm going to build a diplomat now because what I want to do is start exploring and looking for other nations in the future so that I can engage in technology trade. And that's more of a later episode. I'll go into detail on why or how important that is. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do with this worker, I want to build a road network to connect these cities, which luckily there's no river in between, so I can build a road network to easily transport troops and whatever I need to the other cities. So Leptis Magna here, good whale tile, and I'm just going to have a warrior there for now, just to have someone in the city. That's all that matters. Okay, 2 more turns. And yep, 50 turns, and that concludes this episode. Now let's look at what we got here. So we have a barracks in our forward base so that we can easily replenish hit points if this city gets attacked. We're 9 turns away from monarchy, and we have 5 cities with the potential to grow and expand. Okay, that's all for this episode. Thanks for tuning in. It's Freeciv Frank.